our experience with the Alaskan Salmon Bake, Glacier, and Hatchery. So I think you're gonna be talking a lot through like the salmon stuff. Like this is like our fish guy, he knows like, and then I'll talk about the Mendenhall Glacier experience. So, okay, so process standpoint, because as always, like we're the type A's. So we'll talk to you all about kind of how to kick it off and how to book this excursion. So right now on the website, and again, this is specifically with Disney Cruise Line, right now it's labeled as JU07 on their website when you're booking your cruise. Once again, like always recommending that anyone who wants to book an excursion, whether it be on like Disney or any other cruise line, try and book it on the website prior to boarding. That's really important. So right now it's $144 for adults and $59 for 9 and under for kids. It's actually really good because you get so much with this excursion. So the first part of the excursion is you get on a bus to the Mendenhall Glacier, you go and see it, you're able to go and see like Nugget Falls, and then you're also able to see the Mendenhall Glacier itself. You will not have a lot of time there though, and we'll talk about that. I literally ran to see Nugget Falls, and you're not supposed to run because there's bears.
Bears.
What?
Yeah.
I had to see it. Like I was like dying. I was like, we're never gonna be here again, or if we are, like I still want to see it today. So we saw it, and it was beautiful. And then you go to a salmon hatchery, which you'll talk all about, and then we go to the salmon bake, and the salmon bake is beautiful, and the food is also really delicious. So from a process standpoint, basically there is a couple of different things. The only thing different this time around that we saw than we've done on other cruises is basically this time they did not give you a paper, everything was on the app. So you're gonna look on your app, they'll give you a designated place to meet, you meet in that designated place. Typically how Disney does it is they give you a sticker. There is a person who's holding a like, how do you call it, like medallion, or what would you call that? Like a paddle?
Yeah.
Like a paddle with your sticker logo on it. So let's say, let's make it up. Let's say you like have Ariel. You're gonna follow the person who has Ariel off the ship. That paddle is gonna go all the way with your excursion guide, and then they'll take you from there. For this particular excursion, we did get a bus to the Mendenhall Glacier. That bus took us to the Mendenhall Glacier, the hatchery, and then to the salmon bake, and then you get a different bus back from the salmon bake. Now you're kind of like on the bus or what have you. The guide that takes you to Mendenhall Glacier, our guide was absolutely amazing. We actually have bus footage we'll pop in here. He was so cool. It was kind of hard to hear him over the speaker, but just like he was so generous and just such a kind person. Like I needed a Band-Aid throughout the thing because I had like hangnail or something, and he like had all this like stuff and first aid kit. Like he was just so cool. So it was really nice to have like a fantastic guide. So the guide drives you the Mendenhall Glacier. When you get to the Mendenhall Glacier, they tell you when you arrive how much time you're gonna have to spend there. So back and forth to the Mendenhall Glacier, if you take the short route, it's about 1.5 miles 2 miles round trip. We did it in 35 minutes. And you're not supposed to run. We like slight jogged it, so we did 2 miles in 35 minutes. We're able to see the Mendenhall Glacier. We were able to see Nugget Falls, which is really like the attraction and like the eye of everything. So you get off the bus and the driver will tell you, here's your bus number. For ours, I think we were 1726 or something like that. And they'll say, be back at bus 1726 at 1800 hours or whatever time they give you. And so basically you get off the bus and they gave us 40 minutes in total, and we did the whole thing, the whole 2 miles, in literally that whole time.
So I've seen videos of people that like have done this, and a lot of them don't go to see the waterfall because like it is a hike, right?
It's far.
And typically, I mean, if you wanted to do it at like a normal brisk walk type pace, probably would take you like 45 minutes to an hour, if not maybe an hour 30 minutes.
It probably take
I could say.
If you were like just cruising, it probably, because we walk really fast.
Yeah.
We're city people, so like we're always walking. We naturally do like 12,000. So like we're both city people. We're like brisk walkers. Like, so I think we're just used to it. But if you're like a normal cruiser, you just want to like hang, relax.
I would say like an hour.
Probably
20,
an hour,
30
20
minutes.
and 30.
Yeah.
It's not a short walk by any means.
And the same thing that they, we didn't know that it was only like 30, 40 minutes. That was kind of like, oh, really? So I was, in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're not seeing the waterfall. Lauren was like, hey, we got to see the waterfall. I'm like, oh, man, all right. So, like, we're going to probably book it. It was funny because like along the way there, we would see people and they're like, it's worth it. It's totally worth it. And then like while we're on it, I remember seeing a sign that says like wild bears, be careful, don't run.
For context, I did not see that sign until we were almost there.
Yeah, it's kind of silly because it's like the sign is like halfway already when you're in there, right? So.
And I was like sprinting.
Yeah.
The whole way there.
Yeah, she was definitely ahead of me. I was like, I'm gonna walk, but I'm not gonna run because like I'm wearing these hiking boots and like I'm not trying to run right now. Like I'm just trying to enjoy it at the same time. So it was like slight walk / enjoyment. And I was also trying to see the scenery. Like it was, you're going through this nice little beautiful trail too.
I was on a complete mission. I did not care.
You could actually see it in the footage of her like running, and you could see me lagging behind, like just laughing and like kind of recording. And it was definitely, I would say it was worth it. It was so cool. It's like, it's such a nice, beautiful, peaceful area with just this giant waterfall. And this is the cool thing about Alaska because like there's so much variety, right? Like you have forests, you have waterfalls, you have snow-capped mountains, you have wildlife, you have all these different varieties of things in one landscape. And like, it's just like different variations, and it's just amazing, you know? Like you get to experience all these different, I don't know, seasons, or not seasons, but just variation.
No, seasons too.
Right? Like kind of,
We experienced like all the way down to 20 degrees to 70 degrees on like our last day.
Yeah, so it was like all over the place. So it's kind of cool, like just being able to see that. And then it's interesting because you think about people that live there, like they're able to like, if they want to see different seasons or variations, they can go chill in a forest and then go hiking on a mountain, like pretty crazy.
Within like the same day.
And then go fishing. Yeah. Like you can go fishing and catch some salmon fresh. Like it's pretty cool from that standpoint.
It was phenomenal. So I think I want to point out 3 things I wish I would have heard from other people in other videos about the Mendenhall Glacier specifically. So the Mendenhall Glacier, it's actually free to go there. So you're paying for this excursion, yes, of course, but you have to keep in mind in Juneau specifically, they don't have Uber, and also you may not have service when you get off the cruise. So you want to make sure that you book an excursion to go to Mendenhall. But if you were just to be visiting Juneau itself, you don't have to pay to go to the Mendenhall Glacier. They do accept donations. They have a donation box at the top of the Mendenhall Glacier in the visitor center, which is beautiful, by the way. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out. The second thing I wanted to point out is do not miss your bus because they will leave you, and there's no like other bus.
Yeah.
Like your bus is your bus, and I think that's why I was running, because I was like, oh my god, I don't want to miss Nugget Falls, but I also don't want to miss my bus. So I was like having so much fire under myself to like get to the Nugget Falls.
And we made it with time to kill too.
We did, but like, we're also like in general really fast walkers.
Yeah.
So I would think like that.
And then it was funny because by the time we even got back to the bus, the guy wasn't even there yet. And I was actually proud of all the people on the Disney crew, like the people that were with us, because we all got on the bus. He wasn't even on it. Like how like ahead of the game everybody was, right? Like everybody got
was
on.
So time
and we were all waiting for the driver, and I was like, oh wow, that's pretty interesting.
100%.
Usually it's the other way around.
No, it's so true. The next thing is, even if you don't want to walk to Nugget Falls, there is actually a beautiful photo point that you can see the glacier as well as Nugget Falls, and you can get like a really beautiful selfie with the family, like if you're going with kids or you're going with a really big group where not everyone can be in the same pace to get to Nugget Falls at the same time. That's a really good option. So I want to point that out as well. And then the third thing is, if you can make it to Nugget Falls, I would absolutely recommend stepping on the rocks. We'll pop some like photo recaps of us, but we climbed all the way up on the rocks, and it was the most amazing thing because you're standing at the rocks and you can feel the breeze,
like
and the condensation,
the waterfall hitting you, and the elements. And
it is the most
just being
phenomenal thing in the world.
I understand now, like people say, just being near waterfalls and stuff, you can feel like the energy of that, and it feels amazing. All that funny cleansing, hippy dippy, whatever you want to say stuff, like it feels good.
The other thing I noticed is there was people pulling up on canoes, which I do believe that this was an excursion you can purchase. Now, I don't know if you can purchase the canoe experience to go to the Mendenhall Glacier specifically with Disney, because I didn't see it on the website, but I also could have missed it, or it could have been booked, so I didn't see it. But it was so cool because people had a picnic on the little island where Nugget Falls was located, and they were canoeing up. Wow. And I'm pretty sure that they probably got closer to the glacier than we did. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, but it was really breathtaking. It's really cool to see.
It was phenomenal. And then the last thing I think we should point out is the view from the visitor center.
Yeah, so the visitor
Oh my
center, once you get to the very top, I mean, you kind of get to see it from like a very high angle. You get to see everything, and I think that's where I took a picture. Like they have a sign that shows you of like, this is where it was, this is how, you know, it's going, and so on and so forth. So it is pretty crazy. Like
The hike up to the visitor center is no joke. It is a lot of steps, and it's really steep. That's probably like at least 1/4 of a mile up those steps.
yeah,
It was really high,
Yeah.
really, really high, because you're hiking up the mountain to get up there. I would say in general, the Mendenhall Glacier is a very physical activity.
yeah,
So if you have a group where, you know, you have a lot of people came with like their grandparents or their parents, or people who just like doing a big hike was not their vibe on a cruise, they wanted to chill. That's a thing. Like some people can do it, they just don't want to. I would say it would be for you, but really you would only make it to the photo point, or you'd make it to the photo point and kind of like call it a day and kind of just look at the rest of the nature to see and things like that. But it's not a miss in my book. I would absolutely recommend going there. And we did buy some merch at the top. So in the visitor center, there is a little merchandise place where you can purchase like coffees, teas, things like that. You can also
salmon jerky,
salmon
which I
jerky.
never even knew was
we
a
ate
thing.
it.
Yeah,
The teriyaki one is delicious.
Salmon
the regular
jerky.
one is not good, but they're both very salty.
yeah.
They're really
I
salty.
wasn't too crazy about it. But what was your favorite part about the Mendenhall Glacier?
Nugget Falls. That was
Nugget
crazy.
Falls, yeah.
I've never seen something so phenomenal in my life.
Yeah.
I've seen waterfalls before, but I've never seen something that incredible. And it's so high. It's crazy because the waterfall comes all the way down this massive mountain. And you just remember how small you are as a human. You're like, my God, I'm like this big compared to this massive landscape. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. And
Perspective.
it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And we did see other cruisers from other cruise ships on that as well. We did. Yeah, we saw other cruisers from other cruise ships on that. So after the Mendenhall Glacier, you get back on the bus and you drive about 25 minutes back into town to go to the Hatchery. And you go the same way. It's like on the way back to the ship itself. You do again have the same guide, so you're gonna get in the car on the bus with the same person who drove you to the Mendenhall Glacier. And this was probably your favorite part.
Yeah. So I love wildlife. I love nature. This was like basically all about salmon. And I really was curious to know, like, what is the deal? Like, how does it work? Like, what is, you know, we know that salmon comes from Alaska, but like, I didn't know how in depth and how thorough the explanation or like what we were actually going to see. So they take you to a hatchery, and we have, well, I took a lot of footage. I'm not going to lie. I just love it. You know? It's so cool. But I love fish. I've raised fish. Yeah.
You've bred fish.
I've bred fish, angelfish, like, oh my God. So anyway, we get there, and these salmon are no joke. Like, I took footage because they are powerful. And, you know, salmon, they swim upstream. Like, I don't know if you might know about it, but like, they are just strong. Like, you could see how strong they are. So I'll show you in the footage, like, you can actually see them jumping and like flickering and hitting the walls and all this crazy stuff. But they specifically have 2 species of salmon at any given point. And what I didn't know is that they're not only raising salmon, but they're taking wild salmon and they are raising them in that way that they can help them bring out more species. So they're improving the ecosystem in essence, right? Because they're actually improving the numbers. They have statistics of how they have brought in more salmon into the wild. And salmon are imprinted, which means that wherever they start, they end up coming back. So they actually raise them, let them go, and then they come back. And it's like this whole process that they've been doing for years and years and years. And it's just amazing. Like, there's so much that goes into it. They start from like when they're very little. They have different points. You know, like they have like a, I want to say like a juvenile stage and like a semi-adult and then like a whole adult stage, and then they come back and like they transform and they look like, some of them look crazy. They have these teeth and I don't know. It's just amazing.
Oh my
it's so
gosh.
cool.
I think you have this, but they bit each other in the cage.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so crazy.
Yeah, and like
They like have actual teeth.
Yeah.
Which I
when they're
didn't know.
adults.
I didn't know there was different types of salmon.
Yeah, there's like 5 different kinds. I'll put that in there too.
They had a whole video. It was
King
very
salmon,
educational.
chum
It was really
salmon. Yeah, there's like a whole
cool. Pink
bunch.
salmon, I think, was one.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it was amazing. Like I hands down love it. If you like nature and you like animals and stuff, definitely really cool to see it because like we all eat salmon. We know where it comes. Like we know it comes from Alaska, but like to actually see it and see them in action was so cool to me.
I also think it would be a cool family experience as well because they really had it did up. Like they had a salmon character in a costume.
Oh yeah.
That was really cute. So
Yeah.
like I don't think the kids would get bored. And then
No.
they also had, like if you were going with family or what have you, like they also had where you could touch a starfish, and they had other things.
They had a
you could
movie.
touch. They had a movie.
They had a movie. They had all these little things that kids could touch, like aquariums with actual stuff. Because kids
Yeah.
always want to put their hands in the fish tanks anyway, so like they actually have it set up. They
and
also
a lot of people were utilizing it.
yeah, they also
Yeah.
even have another spot where we're giving out salmon too.
Yes, they
So
had
you could try it. Like the jerky, was it?
jerky, the salmon jerky
Yeah.
for taste
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
And then they had coffee and water as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So, and it was all free. Like it was just really nice. And the people there were so sweet as well. That's where we bought salmon jerky also. So we like bought it to try or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was really, really good. What was your favorite part about the hatchery? Or what was the most shocking thing to you? Because they take you through everything as well, just so you guys know. Like everything.
The shocking thing to me was seeing them in like super juvenile form, and then seeing the actual numbers of how they have like multiplied the numbers of salmon in the wild.
Yes.
And then finally, like the most interesting thing was seeing the path of the salmon actually going out into the wild and then coming back in. Like
Yes.
they have a whole system of like these little steps and ladders type things for the salmon. Like I didn't even know that they do that. I thought that was so cool, and like it's great to see that they're helping the wild, and actually doing something about it. So
Yeah.
it was really, really cool.
No, it was so awesome. I can't even believe that they really breed all of those fish to set them free so that the fishermen could then like catch them again. The cycle like restarts itself. It was so freaking cool. And then the salmon bake. So now let's just like, again, process standpoint. Now let's say it's over. I think we had a good 40 minutes there.
Yeah.
We were there for a good 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like you were at Mendenhall Glacier for, let's call it 45 minutes. Then you go to the hatchery for 40 minutes. And again, at the hatchery, you can buy souvenirs. So you've got 2 places where you can get souvenirs for your takeaways. And it's just really fun to like have a little piece of something. We bought souvenirs at both, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And in the Mendenhall Glacier, one of the things we didn't talk about, but I want to say this, they have a ton of stuff from like local tribes and things that you can buy. So like jewelry and things like that, just really beautiful pieces. So really cool to support the local community. And then also, so you're back on the bus. You're with your same guide who's kind of taken you everywhere thus far, and he takes you to the salmon bake, which is extremely close.
Yeah.
So we get there, and what a beautiful, my God.
So this was kind of like the best part of everything.
Oh, it's the
because
best part.
if you did do the hike, you work up an appetite, right? Because we were like, all right, if we're going to be eating, let's work up our appetite and earn it. And essentially the salmon bake is like unlimited. So
Yes.
you're having unlimited salmon on the grill, fresh, beautiful.
Real salmon.
Got pictures
like
and video.
heat.
She could show.
It's
We're going to show
crazy.
you. It was so beautiful. They have it nice little setup in like this forest. All these little like the little lights and stuff.
Oh, so cute.
By this nice little streams of water. It was just beautiful. Like they have these little tables set up, and beyond that, like they have this little thing where you can go in there, and there's like kind of like a mini forest with a waterfall, and it was just amazing. And I think that was like the highlight of the whole thing, because like you get to just enjoy nature, being in it, and you're getting this little barbecue experience. So cool. Like definitely
and we
awesome.
didn't get any pictures of the barbecue buffet that they had up, but in addition to the fresh salmon,
Mhm.
which with the salmon, oh, it's so cool. So like you go in, they drop you off, you have this beautiful like little pond that's set up with this really cool like salmon shape statue that's like spitting out water. So that was super cute.
There was also these things like in the like coming down.
Oh, like when a weeping willow sheds.
Yeah.
But it wasn't weeping willow. It was like something else.
I don't know
and
what it
looked
was,
very
but like I thought it was
majestic.
fake.
It was beautiful.
Like it was like literally some like enchanted forest
Yeah.
type fairy type thing.
It
like
literally looked
was
like
amazing.
Narnia.
Yeah.
Like, I always say I want a Narnia closet. Like, I took pictures of this specifically so he can make me one.
Oh, great.
No,
Awesome. Yeah. But it was beautiful.
It was gorgeous.
It was so cool.
And from a food standpoint, they had baked beans, which were delicious. The baked beans had deer inside of them.
Really?
Oh, so good. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
It had deer.
Wow.
And it was delicious. So it was baked beans with deer, and then they had ribs.
I like the ribs.
The ribs were delicious.
So
they had pasta salad. They had potato salad. They had regular Caesar salad, which was really divine. So good. They also had a gift shop there as well. They had soda and alcohol for purchase. For alcohol, they had beer and wine, and then they had like your general soda, so like your Pepsi, your Coca-Cola, all that stuff.
Yeah, water.
And then on the other side for free, that came with the actual package, you had lemonade, which was delicious.
Mm-hmm.
You had cider, which was hot, and it was so good because it's kind of cold as well. You're a little chilly there, so hot cider, hot cocoa, coffee and tea, and water, all for free. So even if you didn't want to buy a drink, and they had a beautiful dessert, which was a blueberry cobbler. And then they also had clam chowder when you first come in. So when you
clam chowder was good too.
Oh, it was so good. It was
really
so good. So when you arrive at the Salmon Bake, there is a gentleman to kind of take you off the bus, and before you even get off the bus, he tells you all about the Salmon Bake. And he's like, "Hey, I'm, so and so. I'm going to be your guide on the Salmon Bake today." And you really just get off and you kind of have whatever, but they explain everything to you. They're like, "We're gonna greet you with some clam chowder, and then you can go and pick anything out from the buffet. You can eat as much as you want, stay as long as you want,"
which was so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And have the best time. And they told us about the waterfall. So in addition to the Salmon Bake and the buffet and the shopping that's available to you and all the drinks that are free, you can also go to this beautiful waterfall.
Yeah.
And see where people used to mine for gold, which there's also like a little gold mining space there as well. I don't believe we got footage of that.
No, I did.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
It was a beautiful little thing. So it was like another thing to do as well as eating an activity. It was just so cool. It was amazing.
The coolest thing, like she said, was like you could stay there as long as you want, and then when you're ready, they have like buses that come on a every 10-minute basis, and you could just go back whenever you want. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So like finally, you don't have to rush. You could just chill. Like you could have stayed there for 3-4 hours if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
So.
And I think we stayed there for like 2 hours because you're like running. I mean, this excursion itself books at 9:00. So from like 9 to 10, you're on the bus getting to Mendenhall Glacier. Then from like 10:30, let's call it like 11:15, you're doing your Mendenhall Glacier. Then it's like 10 minutes to get everybody back on the bus. You don't arrive into the hatchery until like 12. We didn't get back from this excursion until like almost 5 p.m.
Yeah. It was like a whole day.
All
it was like
day thing. So again, Disney's very specific about the time frames. They said that this was going to be about 9 hours. They were not lying. Like, it's a very long excursion. But boy, do you get your money's worth.
Yeah. To me, this is my favorite one.
Yeah.
Because you got to really experience Alaskan wildlife.
Yes.
You get to be in it. Like, you get to see the waterfalls. You get to see the ice. You get to see the wild, like everything. You get a little bit of everything, and it's like all in one day. So like this, to me, if you're gonna definitely book one, do this. And especially for the foodie people, like you get to have fresh salmon that is freshly caught. You're not gonna have that probably again, ever.
I would say though, be careful of bones in the salmon because they don't take it out.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I didn't eat it. I
forgot which kind of salmon it was, but it does have little bones, so definitely be careful.
It was like Alaskan king salmon, wasn't it?
No, it was not king. It was, oh man, it's more red. I don't know. We'll pop it in. I'll put in which one it was, but yeah, definitely has bones in it, so be careful. That was kind of like, but it's cool to just experience it, right? Like you're never gonna have fresh salmon like that. So
in Alaska.
Yeah. So,
like it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I feel like this excursion was worth every single penny. And what I would say is, yes, we did this excursion very actively. Like we did the whole long walk at the Mendenhall Glacier. We did the whole thing walking up and down the salmon hatchery. We did the whole thing with the Salmon Bake itself. And I think we clocked out that day at like 22,000 steps. But if you don't want to, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
You can do this chill. You don't have to go crazy and do all that.
But I will say, definitely wear a good pair of either hiking
oh my gosh, yes.
boots or whatever, or hiking shoes. Like, make sure you have something that's you know, good enough for that, because
Yeah.
you're going to be doing some walking on like some trails
It's
and
terrain.
everything. Yeah.
It's
So
totally
like,
terrain. It's not flat. Don't wear like cheap shoes either.
yeah.
Even if you're just going to the photo point itself from a distance perspective is 0.3 miles, which typically takes people about 10 minutes to walk. Like if you're doing it slow and leisurely.
Yeah.
So even that is like, you should wear hiking shoes.
Yeah,
like
don't
it's
wear
not,
your nice
yeah.
shoes.
And if you're bringing the strollers and stuff, like make sure it's like a good steady stroller.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just be aware. These are the things that, like, you know, be
Yeah.
prepared. And
bring a rain jacket, bring a jacket in general. We did like vests and zip ups, and then like workout gear. And then of course bring an umbrella if you have one. They sell these little packageable ones on Amazon for like $15, and they're like literally this big, and you can pop them open if you need them. And then I would also say bring hand sanitizer, bring wipes, because in the bathrooms at the Salmon Bake, they didn't have soap in the bathroom that I utilized. So like, yes, it's beautiful, but like just bring like, you know,
kind of like outhouse style.
yeah, it's
so,
like outhouse
yeah,
style, but it's
yeah.
still, I mean,
In the middle of a
beautiful.
forest,
You're in the middle
but
of a forest.
in Alaska,
like you can't
so.
expect dove in the middle of the forest. So, you know, but I think it was worth every single penny. I think if I were to recommend any excursion, specifically with the Alaskan cruise for Disney, I would recommend this one.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah. And I think that's a wrap.
It's a wrap.